Hello everyone, it's Craig. Welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things embracing, celebrating, and navigating single life. So if this type of content interests you, please like and subscribe. It really helps my channel out. So with that being said, let's get started. Today I want to talk about how single people can get their sexual needs met. And I've talked about this in a previous video called How to Structure Your Life Without a Partner, and I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And I understand that not all single people have sexual needs that need to be fulfilled for whatever reasons. There's lots of different reasons that could be. So I understand that I'm not speaking for all single people here, but for single people who want to look at maybe a more non-traditional approach to getting physical needs met, this is just maybe to inspire some ideas. So the first way that you can get your physical needs met is through self-stimulation or masturbation or whatever you want to call it. I know that this seems very obvious, but I think there's a lot more to self-stimulation than people sometimes think about, and even like things to make it more interesting, because I've heard from people tell me everything, and I'm kind of an open book myself, but that they feel like it's boring, they feel like they're not getting their needs met, and I think that that's valid. I mean, sometimes it's not the same having someone else there when it's just you by yourself, but there's a lot of things you can do to maybe make it interesting, whether that includes playing with the lighting, if you're gonna watch a video or not watch a video, if you're gonna maybe have some music on in the background, if you're gonna light a candle, maybe make an entire experience out of it, if you're gonna use lube, not use lube, the different types of lube you can use, if you're gonna use toys. Also, if you live alone, you could do things in different rooms of your house. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend this if you live with your parents or if you have roommates. They might not appreciate that. But if you live alone, you totally could experiment with different rooms of your house. At least in the interim, if you're eventually looking for someone else to help fulfill those needs for you, just so you can try to get most of them fulfilled on your own. The second way you can get your physical needs met are through hookups. And I guess I should define what I mean when I'm talking about a hookup. Hookups can be with random people. I mean, they can be with people that you know as well, but it's generally not consistent. I would say if you can hook up with someone more than once, but it's just very sporadic. You don't really talk to them. You might not know a lot about them. You might know a lot about them. You might not. And one of the main reasons people would hook up with someone is because there's no strings attached. It can be very liberating for some people, and I respect that. I think that when it comes to making a decision about what you're gonna do with pretty much anything in life, it's always risk versus benefit. And for me personally, I feel like the risk of hookups kind of outweigh the benefits, but it just depends on what you're seeking. And the risk, if you don't know the person, could be that it's not physically safe, risk of getting STIs, just not even enjoying the experience because you don't know them very well. It can be much more enjoyable when you are with somebody that you care about, whether you're in a romantic relationship or not. I think just knowing the person and feeling comfortable with them can really make the experience very enjoyable. But for some people, it could be very enjoyable to not know them and be able to feel very liberated. So it's very person dependent. So the third option of getting sexual needs met would be what I call an acquaintance with benefits. Some people might call them a sexual acquaintance, a casual friends with benefits, buddy. I'm sure you've heard that term before. How I would define this is somebody that you do know, like an acquaintance, like you know the person, you might not know a lot about them, you might not have a ton in common with an acquaintance, but you still enjoy seeing them, you see them at the grocery store, before pre-COVID, you see them places, and you say hi to them, you have a really very pleasant conversation, or you see them in passing and whatever. But an acquaintance with benefits, I would say, would be someone that, maybe you would probably just set up a schedule with them of how often you'd want to meet, whether it's weekly, whether it's more than twice a week, maybe once every other week. You'd have to define how you would want it to be. With this, you'd have to communicate more than with the hookup, because if you're gonna see the person regularly, you wanna make sure that you're both sexually compatible and that you have that chemistry and that it works. And also how often you are gonna see them And are you going to spend the night at their house? Are they going to spend the night at your house? Does that feel too intimate? Are they just going to come over and leave? Are you also going to be seeing other people? I think being really open about that is really important. So both people kind of know where they stand, and it's just also to make the best decision possible. So the last way you could get your sexual needs met is with a friend with benefits. Sexual friendship, however you want to title what that term is for yourself and whatever feels good for you. That would be a person that you would spend time with outside of just being sexual with them. And I think this is not something for everyone because some people have a hard time compartmentalizing relationship versus friends with benefits, because some people just get very emotionally attached once they've had sex. So all these options, if you're very relationship oriented, besides self-stimulation, would be really difficult to do. I think it's really important to compartmentalize that this person might not want a relationship, and that's not really what the goal of this is. I mean, you could communicate that too if that was eventually what you wanted, and if you wanted it with that person, but it's they might not reciprocate that. So that definitely is a risk going into this for sure. Again, with the friend with benefits, you want to communicate about what you want and communicate how often you want to see them and how often you want to hang out with them too, if there's some expectation of how often you want to see them. Do you want to do something before you're intimate, after you're intimate, or does it separate days? Or just being very clear about what you want and what you're expecting, so that way you're not let down, I think is important. A lot of people that I've talked to sometimes seek out a friends with benefits, but then they treat them like it's a relationship. And what I mean by that is a friend with benefits doesn't necessarily have to have all the same ingredients that you would look for in a relationship. Relationships are hard because there's so much compatibility that you need to have, and a lot of intimacy and a lot of shared values. And to have an acquaintance with benefits or a friend with benefits or a hookup, you don't need all those same ingredients. Like, you would need the most with a friend with benefits, because you probably want to have like recreational hobbies that are similar. If you both want to go see a movie, or if you both want to be outdoors and go hiking, or whatever it may be. Whereas like an acquaintance with benefits, if you're not spending much time with them, you don't need those. And with a hookup, you're not spending a lot of time with them either. So you wouldn't need all those similar values and similar things to line up. So I've heard people say that they don't want anything serious from someone, and basically treat it like what I would consider a friend with benefits type situation. But then they complain that they're not meeting all their needs, and they're not like the person that they want them to be. And if they're not meeting their sexual needs, that's one thing for sure, because that's kind of why you're a friend with benefits. But what they were saying to me was that it was because they weren't like lining up with them on like all their values. But I think it's just a mindset of like, they don't need to meet all of your needs, because you can't, as a single person, you can get your emotional needs met through friendships and other avenues. An acquaintance with benefits in particular is just for like mostly sexual needs and feeling comfortable like getting your sexual needs met by one or two people. And then the friends with benefits might have a little bit more of the emotional needs, but it doesn't have to have every single thing that a romantic relationship would, which is actually really nice because it's a lot less stressful. I hope that this was clear. I hope that this maybe gives you some ideas of how to get your needs met if that's something that you're interested in, because you're single, you're not dead. I think it's so important. Sexuality and feeling desired is so important, but I want to emphasize that you don't have to be in a relationship to get those needs met. You can really have a rich and fulfilling life being single, and you can just rely on different people for different things, and that's okay. And if there's anything in particular that you have questions on, or if you want me to touch on a little bit more that maybe wasn't clear, please leave a comment down below, and I would love to talk about this even more because I find sexuality really interesting. So thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. I will see you back here next time. Bye. You know, some people call it a booty call. And my friend Kristen from high school, her grandma, one time, this is a long time ago when I was over at her house, she was like, "You young kids don't think I know what you're talking about, but I know what a booty call is." Yes, we can't get anything by you.